Blessed and highly favored. No complaints on this end. Every day above ground is a positive day for me. Better be seen and viewed.
I hear that. That's a blessing, eh? Woke
Woke up 6 at about noon, just thought that I had to be in conference room.
up. I ain't going to compliment you.
I had to get moving before my day begins, before my mom started tripping about my friends.
You know, if you don't like golf, you should always take up a rap career. It's never too late. Johnson's out there rapping.
I speak in lyrics and movie phrases.
I like that.
I'm fluent in that.
Welcome back to the Nomad Golf Podcast.
As you can see, we're in Studio B, CA, here today. Also known as the garage, the basement, because we gutter. But today, we're not talking about the basement. We're not talking about gutter. We're talking about the crescendo. We're talking about great things. We're talking about beautiful things, beautiful beings. We're talking about the great game of golf. We're talking about one of the most historic golf courses to host their inaugural event, the Southwest Airlines Showcase. Me and my buddies call it the Double C, but it's known to you and the masses as Cedar Crest.
Now, you went to that tournament, didn't you?
I did all 3 days. I did.
How was that? Was it like living through a piece of living history?
Not so much. It was history meets 3.0. It was really cool because it's a course that I played many times. One of my favorite courses to play. And I played it probably 4 weeks ago. And I was like, there's no way this course is going to be ready for prime time. I mean, the greens were horrific. And horrific would be a shame that I'm using that word to describe them because they're even worse than that. I mean, they're really bad.
Well, I seen it on TV. It looked like they pulled it off. It looked like a 5-star course if I've ever seen one.
I'll tell you, what they were able to do to that course in that 4-week time frame, which I know it took them a lot longer than 4 weeks, because when I saw it, it was in better shape than it was before. But what they were able to accomplish in those 4 weeks, I haven't seen that course look that good probably in 15, 20 years. I mean, it was spectacular. That's why I made myself a tee time there for Sunday to try my wares. Because I played it too. I played it the Monday before they shut it down. Because they shut it down, I think, on the 8th of October. So I played it on the 6th. So I knew it was in really good shape then. So, but yeah, I mean, the course was phenomenal. There was, I mean, you had a few sketchy areas, but I mean, it's fall this time of year in Texas, so you're going to have that. But overall, I mean, the tournament was well ran, well managed. The course held up. It was beautiful, and the only thing better than the course and how well the tournament was ran were the players.
Now, these players came from all around the world, from my understanding. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it wasn't just collegiate level athletes out there. There were high schoolers, weren't there?
Yeah, there were 2 female high schoolers, which one of them, I think her name is Shayla Brown, I believe. I think she finished solo second. And then there was another lady that goes to Pleasant Grove High School, the Aletha Hines. I can't remember where she finished. And then the young man, Argyle Downs, I think he's from, let me see here. I don't want to, where's my paperwork here? Yeah, he's from West Virginia. And he's in high school, but he's already committed to play at Rutgers next week. But you had a lot of people from Howard, because I mean, they have one of the best golf teams in the nation. So they had, I want to say 4 or 5 men and I think 2 or 3 women who came out and played as well from their golf team.
Now, I seen that they were on the big screen. I like that. They were on the big screen doing their thing. And from what I learned from a lot of them, if from what I saw, a lot of those guys, a lot of those kids, excuse my phrasing, because you know I'm a young buck myself.
You are, but you hang around old people.
I do. You know, that's why I'm a learned man. But a lot of those individuals seem like they could be ready to go play with the pros today. The way that they were out there golfing and the moves that I was out there seeing them do, like there was one that she got a double eagle, but didn't she?
Yes. Yes, I mean one lady, oh man, I can't what was her name? But
was it Henningsen?
Yeah, Emma Henningsen. She's from Sweden, but she goes to the University of South Dakota. Wednesday she shot 76. Monday she shot 76. Tuesday she shot 63. I mean, that's golfing your ball and turning it around. That's going low on that course. And I don't care who you are, you got to golf your ball to go. She went 8 under on the back nine.
That's impressive. And she's a collegiate level athlete. You think she's going to be going into the LPGA pretty soon?
Oh, whoa there, champ. I don't know if they're ready for that next step just yet. But I think they have a foundation. And once again, they invited the top 21 females and the top 21 males. So you didn't see a lot of slackers out there.
No, I didn't see a single slacker.
They brought in the best that they could bring in. And like I said, it was a showcase. That's what they were doing. They were showing that, hey, those ladies and gentlemen, they have game. And they proved it. Now, some people will say, hey, well, the yardages they're playing from. Well, if you pay attention to college golf, the yardages they were playing from is in line with a lot of the yardages that a lot of these college golf tournaments play from. And regardless of how far or how close they're playing from an overall yardage or distance standpoint, you still have to golf your ball. I mean, I dare anyone to go out and try to play the red tees anywhere at 5,000 yards and shoot 10 under. Now, they weren't playing at 5,000 yards, they were playing longer than that. But what I'm saying is that even if you play from the red tees from 5,000 yards, most golfers are not going to get under the card and stay under the card, because it's easy. Like me and my buddy say, it's easy to get under the card. It's easy to get a negative number. The hard part is keeping that negative number throughout your entire round. Mm-hmm. And the majority of those people, they did it. I mean, male and female. I mean, they can golf their ball. And Cedar Crest isn't an easy course. It absolutely is not an easy course.
No. As not only, I know within this company you wear a lot of hats. Mm-hmm. Not only are you the CEO, the founder, CFO, but you're also, you're our insider golf analyst. Right. Because, I'm not going to know what I'm talking about half the time when I'm talking about golf.
Brand ambassador.
Yeah. So, who was it out there while you're out there volunteering? Who was it out there that stood out to you? Or were there a few individuals that stood out to you? Because I remember you talking about...
I'm going to say all of them. All of them stood out.
21?
All 42.
21 from the last season.
Yeah, they all stood out to me, but to be honest with you, the two who won, Greg Odom and Alan Stevens, I believe is her name.
And she's from Houston, but goes to Tulsa, doesn't she?
Right, yeah, she's from Houston. Yeah, Alan Stevens, those two individuals, based on, because I was there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but based on what I saw those 3 days, the best players won, right? I mean, you can say that sometimes you'll see a golf tournament and you're like, hey, the best player didn't win. You can say that in football too sometimes, or baseball or basketball, hey, the best team didn't win. But from what I saw and the shots they were hitting on a more consistent basis, and improved over time, I mean, you just look at their scores, it's not like they won by 2 or 3 strokes, right? The best players for that week won, right? I mean, there was nobody, it wasn't given to them. They went out there and they earned it, which is a really cool thing. And I mean, they have game. And probably, I mean, I've been to a few LPGA tournaments. I've been to a few PGA tournaments. I haven't been to any senior tour tournaments, but this probably was one of the best tournaments I've been to. It was the funnest to be around. Like those young kids. I mean, they were all very appreciative of the opportunity, right? So that's what we want. We want the opportunity. They all seem to be extremely appreciative of the opportunity. And then on top of that, once again, it was called the Southwest Showcase. They put on the show. They did.
That they did.
They put on the show.
And it was a beautiful show at that.
Right.
It is amazing. Did they do like a tribute or something to Charlie Sifford?
Yeah, Charlie Sifford and Walter Hagen. Because Charlie Sifford, he won, I can't remember how many times he won on the UGA, the United Golf Association. They played several tournaments there. And I want to say he won 6 or 7 times. So there's a statue of him there. And then they also had the 1927 PGA, which was a major at the time. It was played there, and Walter Hagen won. So the same hallowed grounds and fairways and tee boxes, they were able to walk down were the same ones that, some of the greats of the game were able to walk down. So I think that was a beautiful thing too.
And it is. Walking in the footsteps of your I guess they would still be considered your golf ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's an impressive thing. That's something to take pride in.
Yeah, we all stand on their shoulders. Yeah, we stand on the
they
shoulders.
walk so we can run. Look,
Right. We stand on the shoulders of great men and women. And another thing, they hit the ball a long way. Male and female. Ball go far.
Now, for those of us, that don't play golf, and a lot of people when they see when you're on the outside looking in, I feel like when you're looking into golf, you're always like, oh, that looks easy, anybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But here, let me tell you something. Unless you had a top golf or a mini putt, you ain't doing that kind of work. That takes hours and days and weeks of just dedication, determination to be able to hit those precise shots. Like seeing that girl go, what did she hit, from 600 yards and had a hole in one? I was like, oh, that's a precise shot, because that hole is only like what, about a baseball's width wide, and you
True, it wasn't 600, it was like 142, but still, embellishing it sounds better. But still, a hole in one.
I like to over exaggerate it.
But a hole in one is, it's phenomenal. That's the thing. And to do it and that was our first hole in one, and to do it in a tournament. You know what I mean?
On TV, on national TV.
On national TV, right. That's huge. Big time players make big time plays in big games.
She set herself up for success right there.
And she showed herself to be a big time player. But even before this tournament, my favorite tournaments to go to were like the LPGA tournaments. Like I always tell people, if I'm going to show someone or teach someone how to play golf, I'm going to have them watch the LPGA because they're so technically sound. You very rarely see any of them miss a fairway or whatever because they're not over swinging and they trust their technique. Whereas us guys, we're going at it most of the time, right? And we're trying to hit the ball just as far as we can. Here, you had that somewhat, because it was funny, because like I was telling my buddies, pretty much every hole that wasn't a par 3, those guys are taking out driver. Everyone, they're taking out driver. Whereas when we play that course, we'll take an iron off number, 10, number 13, it's a sharp par 4, I think maybe 300, 315, somewhere around that. Those guys are driving the green. Here we are, I normally take like a 5-wood or whatever, maybe have 60, 70 yards in maybe, and try to wedge it out. But that's another thing too. It doesn't necessarily mean that in theory, the closer you are to the hole, the better the chances you have to score. It's not always the case. Because, there's one gentleman there, he drove the green, but then he 3-putted, right? So he's putting for eagle, walks away with the bogey. That's golf. Like the great Ron Washington said, hey, that's the way golf goes, But it still was a beautiful sight. I think it was well received by the community. They had a lot more spectators out there than I thought they would have during the middle of the week or whatever. So, I thought it was just a really cool thing. And if the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise and I'm around here next year, I look forward to attending again.
I was just about to ask if you think they're gonna have another one, because
I think they will.
for this to be their first turnout, being on national TV, seeing all those kids golf their ball, I'm gonna steal your saying right there for a little bit.
You can have it.
Seeing them golf their ball and just achieve just greatness is a very impressive thing. I feel like it would be wrong for them not to continue it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was like I said, it was a really well run tournament. It really was. It really was well run. And the course was in phenomenal shape. I can't wait to go out there and play.
I heard you walked 18 holes the first day.
Won't do that again. I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and it's a small world. Like, one of the young ladies who was out there was so crazy. So me and my buddies, we go on these golf trips every year. Well, like 2 or 3 years ago, we were in Scottsdale on a golf trip. And the young lady working the course, the cashier, we were talking to her, and she's like, yeah, I go to Prairie View. And I was like, we're from Texas. And we're like, what? She's like, yeah, I go to college at Prairie View. So, and this was like our second 18 of the day, because this is our afternoon round. So she jumps in with us on the back nine and plays with us. And we were impressed then of how well and how far she was hitting the golf ball. But my memory's not as good as some of the others. So, and I'm telling my buddies, and they're going online, they're looking at some of the people, and then they're like, hey man, this lady here, Taylor, we played golf with her when we were in Scottsdale. I'm like, no. She's like, no, remember having played this course, and she jumped in with us, because I think one of my buddies gave her like an eye-line putting aid or whatever. So she was actually out there.
Did you end up talking to her and like, hey, I remember you?
Did not.
I
I don't like to get in people's way when they're in the mode of
like afterwards or in the beginning. Because it's amazing that you say that, because when I look at history and you look at all these older interviews, you always see great people knowing great people. Like look at Red Fox. He grew up with
Malcolm
X, and they were great friends growing up, but you would have never known that unless he said something.
Yeah.
And it's like all these people hang out or come across each other from time to time.
Small world.
It is a very
Small world, a lot of people.
That's why I think my generation takes over from your generation by having a conversation.
That's it. Conversation. That's all it is. It's conversation. And she played well too. I mean, she played well. She on matter of fact, that hole I was talking about, hole number 13. She drove, because there's a little greenside bunker right there. She drove to the bunker off the tee. Like I said, I mean, I don't care where your tees are, whatever distances and yardages you're playing from, you still have to golf your ball. You still have to score.
So what
and
you're
they
saying,
scored well.
if I were to take some lessons, what you would prefer me to do is to find some of these female golfers out here to teach me the technical aspect of the game.
Well, I just think innately overall, women just have a more attention to detail than we do.
They do.
And golf is a very detail-oriented sport, and technique is more than anything. You got to have the right technique if you want to be successful, if you're laying the foundation or whatever. So yeah, I would always gravitate to show someone, hey, watch the L. Because when I got into, my dad is the one who got me into golf, but then when I started taking it serious, I just watched a lot of golf, and I tried to find someone who had a body type or stature as myself. So it was always either Ernie Els or Vijay Singh. I would look at their swings, even though my swing is nothing like theirs. But that's who I would look at, because it was just smooth. I always thought Tiger, he went at it too hard. And I always thought that's not going to hold up over the long haul. He's going to have injuries and all that stuff, because the human body is not set up to continuously do this golf swing and do this twisting and all that stuff. It's just not set up for that. So the better you can try to hold in that and hone in on having more of a smoother swing as opposed to a hard, fast, violent swing, I think that takes a lot of wear and tear off of your body. Consequently, I mean, you look at Phil Mickelson, and even Rory McIlroy, I mean, those two individuals just look like their swing is just a natural swing. It's not manufactured.
I've noticed, and they use their full body. They're not just going at it with their arms.
Right, it's just a natural swing. And so I think with most females that play the game and play the game well, their swings, for the majority of it looks natural. So with females, you don't hear a lot of, torn rotator cuff and hip injuries and knee injuries and all that stuff because their swings look more natural. It's more technique driven. And I mean, a lot of them hit the ball a long way because most people care about distance, right? But for me, it's more about, okay, how dialed in are you with your irons going into the green? That's where you score, right? And I mean, that Allen Stevens and then Greg Odom, then there's, I think, Chris Smith Jr. I mean, all those guys, the kid from Utah, that Christopher Rodriguez kid.
Christopher Styles did pretty good too, didn't he?
Chris Styles. The young lady from McKinney, I think she's like a sophomore in high school. She finished solo second or whatever. I mean, I think she's like 15 years old. I mean, come on. I mean, she's better in life and golf at 15 than a lot of us who have been out there playing, we could be twice or three times her age or whatever. So, I mean, she's very calm on the golf course. I mean, I think it was just a beautiful thing. It's just overall just a beautiful experience.
I think a lot of those names, those are going to be some names that we're going to be hearing from years and years from now. And, Greg Odom, he could be up there with the greats someday, the way he was playing.
He could. I mean, he hits the ball a long way, but outside of his distance, putting and short game, that's where you score, right? You don't get to 12 and 13 under being a slouch around the greens, right? You got to score. So you score with your wedges and your putter.
I noticed with a lot of them, like how precise and how meticulous they were taking their putting, especially Miss Stevens that's going over to Tulsa from Houston. I just got to shout her out, from Houston.
She is. She's from Houston. I think she went to A&M last year and then she transferred to Tulsa this year.
That's College Station A&M?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a decent area.
Yeah.
Given certain things.
Yeah, but I mean, I just thought, like I said, I had a really good time. I mean, I met some people out there, talking conversations. I mean, I learned some things that I didn't even know about, like the City of Dallas courses or whatever. So once again, I just thought it was a really cool experience. And the one thing I enjoyed was I was actually able to be present in that experience and just take in that experience and enjoy the experience.
Would you say you're living more up to your slogan, wherever you are, there you are?
Absolutely.
You put that on a t-shirt.
That's it. Look at you. We're all creatives. And see that? You just created something, right?
I'm more of a facilitator than a creator,
Okay.
I like to think of myself as a facilitator because we have so many creators within our Johnson nomadic tribe. And I say that because, we're all spread out all over the place.
We are.
We only get together every 2-3 years.
Exactly.
But
Lord willing.
Everybody seems to be bringing a piece to the table, and everybody seems to be very creative. I'm a facilitator. I'm like, well, how can we best use this?
You're like a project manager.
Somebody's got to do it.
You're like DuPont. They don't make things, they make things better.
There you go. Just
write that down.
It's like out there in a lot of the slogans that you got in the music industry nowadays, or a lot of things that you got out in the service industry.
Right.
I may not have created it, but I made it better.
That's right. The baby on the baby.
I guess that's another time we can go over at some point today.
Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't touched on hip hop culture. We haven't touched on culture in a minute.
Well, yeah, hip hop culture is quickly eroding.
Well,
So,
hip hop culture, yes, but
we're here to focus on the Southwest Showcase,
and that is something that we're going to continue to focus on. Thank you to all those ladies and gentlemen that came out to enjoy this great Texas weather, first and foremost.
And one thing I noticed, the University of Howard, their people traveled. They were there.
enforced.
They were there in force. But it also makes sense because they were the most represented school as well, right? And then a couple of their players are from Texas. I think Kendall Jackson, she's from Pearland. Then there's another young lady, she goes to Howard, and she's from Dallas. I think Mr. Odom is from Memphis. Had a couple of North Carolina A&T players there. So yeah, I think the Morgan Harrell, she's from Dallas. She goes to Howard University. So I mean, Howard is stacked. I mean, they're stacked. I was wondering if those guys went out there trying to recruit some of those other golfers to see if get them to transfer over.
I wouldn't be surprised, and they might have taken a page out of Coach Prime's book. Hey, let's go ahead and stack this team up. It's a super team at this point.
ABC always be closing.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of them in live golf pretty soon.
Yeah, that would be a bad route for some of them to go, especially with Liv now having some kind of relationship with the PGA Tour. I think that would be pretty cool to maybe bring some of their talent on board there. Whatever it is to try to grow the game, and I think this is one of the things that the I Am a Golfer Foundation, Cedar Crest, and Southwest Airlines, they were trying to do is, put these individuals out here. Because here's the thing, you don't see a lot of us on TV playing golf playing at a high level. And these are student athletes. I mean, a lot of these kids are all academic, all American academic, and all that stuff. So
I noticed they were talking about Chris Styles and his work ethic and the amazing thing is, he's out there doing his best, and they're bringing in his GPA and what he's majoring in and all these kind of things. And I'm like, that brother right there, that's going to be one of the geniuses that we're going to see in a Fortune 500 company. He's going to be golfing on the weekends talking about, y'all know what I used to do.
Right. But yeah, I mean, and like I said, I just think it was a beautiful thing. I think it was great to see. I'm glad that they put it on. I'm glad that it was so well received. And outside of the golf, all the other things they got them involved in, they had a lot of keynote speakers speaking at the banquet.
Oh, like who?
Let's see, Ira was one. Malad Deutsch, I think that's her name. I'm not sure. She used to be like the assistant pro at Cedar Crest, and now she's in Dallas. I mean, not Dallas. She's in Houston now, and I can't remember what course. She's the actual GM now over there. Then I saw Mr. Leonard Jones out there, which he used to be the head golf pro or GM at Cedar Crest. He was out there watching. Just a lot of the greats.
It's beautiful to see that they're willing to put on something so what's the word I'm looking for? Magnanimous? I read them. I'm a learned man. But it's great to see they put on something like that for the community, because we don't have a lot of that. We don't have a whole lot of positive things. And to have something like that, that's amazing.
Right, and I think that's kind of like the mantra or the mission statement for I Am Golfer is to try to revitalize the southern sector of Dallas, which is no better place to start than the mainstay of Cedar Crest.
And they did an amazing job.
They did a beautiful job. And from what I understand, the city of Dallas spared no expense as far as getting the course in the good shape that it's in. But it took a lot of hard work, so shout out to the greenskeepers, the superintendent, the ground crew, Ira, Cedar Crest, all those guys. I mean, because, like I said, when I played there a month ago, I'm like, there's no way this place is going to be ready for prime time. And it looked great on TV.
You know what they say, if there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, there was. And I mean,
it was beautiful.
I'm pretty sure it was a lot of stressful, sleepless nights. But it all came together, and it was like I said, just a beautiful experience. I can't wait till next year. Actually, I can't wait till Sunday. Hell, I may go out there tomorrow.
Well, I I'm glad that you went out there. I'm glad you had some fun and you got to be a part of enriching not only the community but that next generation of golfers.
Right.
Because that is a very important thing. You know, it's a mindset that I've always had. You know, iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. And that looks like what was going on out there.
Oh yeah. They were, like I said, they were golfing their ball. And once again, shout out to Wingfield's Burgers because I did get me a burger there on Monday.
Now you know you have that sugar.
I do have that sugar, but it wasn't like their regular burger because the regular burger in their spot, you know, is huge. It probably would have taken me a month and a half to eat, but they downsized it for the tournament, and I could not be more appreciative of them doing it. But man, they make a tasty burger, not unlike Big Kahuna Burger over there off of Slauson. Yes, that's a Hawaiian burger joint.
I'm gonna have to go over. You know, I like me a Hawaiian burger.
Yeah, well.
A little pineapple on it.
I don't usually get to eat burgers because, you know, my wife is a vegetarian, so as a byproduct, that makes me a vegetarian. But it's a really good burger.
Now you know well she is not a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm. So you're not even catching it. For those out there in YouTube land, you guys will catch it. He doesn't catch it.
I don't. Somebody's gonna have to explain it to me.
It's from Pulp Fiction.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave your comments. I need to be, educated on this. I need to do my research.
Mm-hmm. Well, once again, thank you all for joining us. We're in the lab. It's a little cool outside. We're having a smoke session. And thank you to Monte Cristo because I'm pairing this episode with the Monte Cristo Esperado. If you guys have never smoked this cigar, this is a sit-down cigar.
It definitely is.
This is not a golf cigar. This is a cigar you need to sit down when you got some time in your life and you want to reflect and pacify yourself with some cool thoughts. This is a go-to cigar for that. And as I understand it, I want to give a shout out to Rigby Cigars in Paris. I'll be there tomorrow because they will be unleashing the Perdomo 30th anniversary cigar tomorrow.
Shout out to Rigby's. We'll see you over there.
And shout out to Steve Kress, Ira, I Am the Golfer Foundation, and Southwest Airlines for putting on the showcase and doing a wonderful job. And shout out to all the kids who are young men and young women who showed up, competed, and showcased their talents. We're all very proud of you. We look forward to seeing your careers grow in the future.
Thank you.
That's Gucci.